A popular WWE star is apparently not renewing their contract. A major SummerSlam match has possibly been postponed till WrestleMania, and we've got scrapped plans for an apparent title change at Forbidden Door. Stay tuned to find out what it was. So kicking things off with the news that a popular WWE star has apparently decided not to renew their contract. Now, the Wrestling Observer newsletter is reporting that Io Shirai has not signed her new WWE contract offer, and a current one is set to expire soon, and that will make her a free agent. Shirai has reportedly told others that when her contract's up, she wants to return to Japan to be near family, with the possible option to return to Stardom, as there will be no non-compete clause, of course, if she's a free agent. She hasn't competed in WWE since Stand and Deliver in April due to an undisclosed injury.
It has been it feels like a while since we've seen her doing anything in NXT. Yeah. She's obviously a former NXT Women's Champion, former NXT Tag Team Champion, or Women's Tag Team Champion, and Dusty Rhodes Cup winner this
certainly
year.
A standout toward the days of, I don't want to say the dying days of, black and gold NXT, but it certainly hit a bit of a plateau, didn't it?
Yes, she was one of those names that was really big at that time.
Yeah, you would tune in to see her matches.
She's not really fit into the new NXT 2.0 so far, in my mind anyway, and so it may be a bit understandable that she'd want to return home to Japan.
Yeah, I mean, going to Stardom, I imagine would be a very big coup, very big get for them, and it would be something that will just immediately kind of boost her stardom over there, no pun intended. So I think that it's possibly only a good thing. The WWE by now, I really thought they would have called her up, if I was being honest.
She seems like one of those talents that should have been on the main roster a while ago. She was really talented. She had a fantastic match with Sasha Banks last year, I want to say, or maybe 2 years ago now. Time is
it's just melting away.
It is, hasn't it? But it's not surprising she wants to go back to Japan. We saw Kairi Sane do something similar where she left mid-contract, which didn't allow her to do Stardom stuff.
Yeah,
but
she became like a brand ambassador for a while.
Yeah, she was a rep over in Japan for them. So maybe we'll see Io Shirai join Stardom. Maybe she'll stay with WWE. Who knows? Yeah. But it looks like she's not going to sign that deal.
Yeah. Well, keeping it with NXT, apparently WWE are considering a heel turn for Cora Jade, which is
it's a surprise.
A very big surprise. Cora Jade's somebody who's been just slowly gaining a lot of momentum in terms of fan support. People really behind her, people wanting her to succeed. And then, potentially in a couple of weeks, she could be cutting a You People promo.
I really hope she doesn't cut You People promo. She can't do it.
She's set to tag with Roxanne Perez next week, a Great American Bash on NXT 2.0 for the NXT Women's Tag Team titles. Meltzer is reporting in the Wrestling Observer that among the things talked about in NXT, whether they happen or not remains to be seen, are Ivy Nile and Tatum Paxley as a tag team. Actually, they've been on apparently slight teasers on television a few weeks back, but not the last week or two. And having Cora Jade go heel on Roxanne Perez.
It's quite a shock because Cora Jade has been kind of that fan favorite underdog face on NXT for a while, and I'm sure she could pull off being a heel, but she's got the look of an underdog face that people want to get behind, and it just wouldn't make sense to me to turn her heel.
Depending, if she's able to cement herself as a heel, I think, because it's only natural, you have to switch between both sides in wrestling unless you're somehow like a career face. If you're like one of those people that's just able to do it, like Ricky Steamboat, like John Cena, it's just the whole thing. You've got to just kind of go with it, because I guess the thing is, if you have a lot of fan support behind you and then you turn heel, the fans are going to be angry that you turned heel, but then eventually 5, 6, 7 months down the line, when you have that moment in the ring, everybody knows the moment when there's a dilemma presented to a heel and then they finally go no and they turn face again. It doesn't just kind of boost you, it goes like bang, and you're just up like 2 or 3 levels of popularity almost immediately.
This would be, as much as I don't want it to happen, I guess this is the kind of perfect place to try it out. Well, it's developmental,
so you can try it.
Cora Jade, we'll see how you do as a heel, see what character fits best.
Yeah, and it's not something WWE, I imagine, would consider without having already done tests. We've seen a lot of stuff backstage through the years, documentaries on the WWE network and all sorts, where you see promo classes. You see people going, well, no, it needs to be slightly more like this and like that. And, I think that there's a lot of that still going on in the Performance Center, of course. So I imagine they've probably thought this through and they think it may be a good idea. But whether it happens or not, as was reported, remains to be seen. But keeping it with WWE, we've got a major SummerSlam match, possibly postponed till WrestleMania 39. What is it, Fraser?
It's a long one. Well, Meltzer is reporting at one point the idea was for John Cena to face Theory at SummerSlam. Now, this has been a match that I think everyone has kind of figured would be happening. A little bit. Yeah. We've seen Theory dress up as John Cena when we did all those photos. He had the US title, and he's been calling Cena out quite a bit. There was a tease on television this week when they went face to face, and
you saw how big Theory actually is.
Theory's a big boy. I also think Cena's probably slimmed down for movie roles, but Theory looked giant. However, Cena is not announced for any future TV dates currently, and they wouldn't do such a match without more of an angle between them, because he would kind of want to make that the biggest possible match. With SummerSlam just a month away, it doesn't feel like they're going in that direction. So the match, which clearly has a direction, may also be delayed to WrestleMania, according to Meltzer. It makes sense to put it on WrestleMania.
Yeah, it's in Los Angeles, and I think that they are going to try and maybe do, you remember the Hogan, Austin, Rock, but you could have Batista, Cena, Rock.
Yeah.
You to kind of be like, look, we have Hollywood stars. And so I think having Cena on the show there, not that Cena's a full-blown household Hollywood Bruce Willis level, in the 90s name yet.
When you think
like
Hollywood and wrestling.
The Rock is there,
yes,
but Cena is on the rise. Cena is going to potentially be there one day. And you think about wrestling and acting, it's Cena.
It's Cena at the moment, especially with Peacemaker and all the stuff in DC and stuff like that. I'd be really excited for this match. I think Cena in Theory could have one hell of a match.
I think just imagine the program. The promos leading into this are going to be quite something.
Theory to dress up as Dr. Thugonomics and do up a whole rap stuff.
Just rinsing Cena.
It'd be so good. But yeah, hopefully WrestleMania next year. I want to see that match.
Yeah.
Give me that match.
Now, on the topic of WrestleMania, what happens around WrestleMania? Is it the WWE Hall of Fame?
It's the WWE Hall of Fame.
Now, it's a bit of a weird one, this. There's a little bit of a tidbit of news that came from Tori Wilson via the Asylum Wrestling store, that when she was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2019, she wasn't allowed to mention Sable in her induction speech. She said she was told by WWE, quote, "You're not even allowed to mention her name. I mentioned her name in my Hall of Fame speech, and right before they told me, oh, by the way, you're not allowed to mention her name." Now, it's unclear why this policy's in place. Sable was, if you go back and listen to any of the production staff podcasts, Pritchard, anybody like that from back in the day, they have nothing but positive things to say about Sable's early run. She was a star that brought, a lot of eyes to the product. She helped sell a lot of what was going on at the time with the tone of the programming as well. It kind of worked. She left the company. There was a lawsuit against WWE for sexual harassment, but then she'd later return to the company in 2003, and she'd leave under better terms in 2004. She's, of course, married to Brock Lesnar.
And it seems a weird choice that in 2019 they would not have her name be said in a speech, especially with as you said, she left on much better terms than the original departure from the company.
Tori did go on to say that she kind of mentioned that, Sable's not somebody you can just go and meet at a meet and greet. Yeah. She's somebody you would have to really go out of your way to try and find, and you'd have to hike for in the miles in the middle of nowhere to get a signature. So she speculated maybe it's just that Sable's decided she kind of wants to just step away from public life altogether. And to be honest, it wouldn't surprise me either.
Especially Brock Lesnar, how recluse he is. And when he's not on TV, you don't hear from him.
Yeah, Brock's just up on his farm, living the best life, nice and quiet.
With his staff and butchers and all good stuff like that. So maybe Sable's just the same in a butcher shop, out hunting.
Well, also happening last night was Impact Against All Odds, and we got a new champion crowned at the event. We had Brian Myers defeat Rich Swann to win the Impact Digital Media title in a .combat. I love that. .combat.com. Yeah. No clever. DQ is what it is. Match. Myers hit Swann with a keyboard, followed by his running lariat for the win. So, Just big up Brian Myers.
Yeah, good on Brian.
After that massive WWE losing streak.
I know, he's doing some good stuff.
It's I'm happy that he's found Impact as this home, and he's been definitely one of the standouts. In terms of
him and Cardona have been two of my favorites in the Indies recently.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that it's just a great thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great to see
him to sit there and run his mouth with that belt.
Still don't like the name of the Digital Media Championship, but it's growing on me a little. Maybe Brian Myers will turn things around with that name.
And finally, going back to AEW X New Japan Pro Wrestling Forbidden Door. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, there was apparently plans for a title change that never came to fruition. Now, apparently, Gado's original idea was for the Young Bucks to win the IWGP Tag titles on the show and make it AEW versus IWGP Tag titles. It was then changed, and the Young Bucks were on board with that title change, with the idea that it's a cool story for FTR to have both, the IWGP, Ring of Honor, and AAA tag titles. While the belts mean less because there are so many of them, there's now a natural push for the Young Bucks versus FTR with 4 sets of belts at stake and being pushed as a unique match in wrestling history. It could logically be billed as the biggest tag team championship match in history for that reason alone.
It is going to be a massive match.
There are going to be so many Ultimo Dragon pictures.
My mind, it's got to be FTR that takes those belts eventually, and I think the right choice here was giving those belts to FTR on Sunday night.
Get him to Japan. Get him to Japan right now. Just put him on a plane. Get him over there. Get him over there.
Oh, it'd be lovely.
Right, well, that was it for your second dose of lovely weekend wrestling news. We may be back later if anything else breaks, but if not, make sure you have a lovely weekend.
We've got a lot of Money in the Bank content.
We've got a lot of Money in the Bank content as well.
Tom and Andrew.
It is Money in the Bank tonight. Yeah, God,
I know it comes around fast. Tom and Andrew are going to be live streaming their reactions tonight on the channel, so make sure you stick around for that. We'll have What Happened At with Jack tomorrow. We'll have WTF Moments shortly after. You can go back and watch yourself and Andrew play through the entire card of Money in the Bank.
It's on the channel right now.
That was good fun. I tuned in for that, so make sure you go and watch that. Predictions are on the channel if you want to find out what Tom and Andrew have actually predicted for the show. It's going to be good fun. It's going to be a night. It's going to be long.
But it's Money in the Bank. And I always have a good feeling about Money in the Bank. So have a good show, everybody.
See you later.
Bye bye.